Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with another daily Marvel Snap video. So in the last video, you guys mentioned the Christmas sweater. It's actually a Star Wars sweater that I got from my wife a couple years ago, and it's big enough that we can both wear it. And so from time to time, I steal it. It's very comfortable. But for today's video, as you can see, the time on this season is about over. And in their most recent update video, they shared that Silver Surfer was going to be the new card. Now, Silver Surfer is a 3-cost, 0-power card that has the on-reveal ability, give your other 3-cost cards plus 3 power. Now, this can trigger multiple times in like a Camartage, or with an Odin, or with Absorbing Man. So those are going to be phenomenal cards for this season, but if you don't have them, we're still going to be looking at 3 different deck builds that you can use today to try out the new card. I think it's going to be very, very strong. Now, it may run into the same kind of scenario that Black Panther did, in that it can be blocked by a Cosmo pretty easily. If it becomes a very common thing, then you might see the meta shift around countering it for a little bit, and then just wait a few weeks, and then you can start sliding it back in once that counter goes away. Now, the first one that I have up is a Patriot Silver Surfer deck list, and this was brewed by the flagship, or most of it was. The core list utilizes Absorbing Man to re-trigger either your Debrii or your Silver Surfer to either flood the board with additional cards that can benefit from Patriot, or get an additional benefit to your 3-cost cards. Now, this list uses a lot of 3-cost cards. Luckily, Brood is going to be one of the really strong performers with Silver Surfer, because it's going to create 3 3-cost cards onto the board, and then Silver Surfer is going to buff each and every one of those up. So with Absorbing Man, this is going to be phenomenal. I don't have Absorbing Man, and I know a lot of people don't either, and so I utilized Ultron instead. If you don't draw into Silver Surfer, we want another strong in-game finisher, and so I put Ultron in. I don't know that this is the best tech. You might just go with another 3-cost card. You could always go with Cyclops, and that way he can benefit from both Silver Surfer and Patriot. I'm going to try the sneaky Ultron. If it turns out that that's not working, I'm going to cut it for the cheaper Cyclops card. The next one that I have up is a full-on into your Silver Surfer commitment. If you draw into Silver Surfer with this list, it's going to be very strong. But if not, it's going to be on the weaker side. So this one goes all in on that Silver Surfer bonus. It has Wong so that you can double trigger your Silver Surfer. You have Sera so that you can throw 3 3-cost cards onto the board. And all of the rest of the cards, except for Psylocke, are 3-cost. And so Brood is going to be phenomenal. Wolfsbane. If you copy Wong's ability with your Mystique, if you trigger Wong and Mystique and then drop Silver Surfer on top of it, that is going to trigger 4 times, buffing up your Mystique and all of your other 3-cost cards, and it's going to be very hard for the opponent to keep up. Now, with all Wong lists that can be susceptible to redirection, an Enchantress, a Cosmo, a Magneto are all going to hurt this list quite a bit, but if you can get this combo off, it is going to be very strong. And it's going to be hard for the opponent to keep up with, because you're able to trigger these cards so many times. And then the last list that I have is a negative Silver Surfer list. Now, this list operates on the fact that even if you don't get that high roll, you don't have your Silver Surfer, you don't have your Mr. Negative, it wants to find those win conditions anyways. And the further you get into the Mr. Negative path, the kind of scarier it becomes. If you lean too heavily on Mr. Negative but don't draw him, then you are very susceptible to having to retreat very often. Now, with this list, you do have your Brood, you have your Mr. Fantastic, your Wolfsbane, your Mystique. And Mystique has several targets in this list. Bast is in this list to buff up all of our cards that are below 3 power, which is almost the entire deck. And so if Bast hits your Silver Surfer, he's going to be 3 power. If it hits Mystique, Mystique starts at 3 and then can get buffed up by Silver Surfer. Sera allows us to kind of flood the board on that last turn as well. We can drop 3 3-cost cards. If that is what we need to do, we can drop a Brood into a Mr. Fantastic, into a Silver Surfer, or any combination of our cards. We have a lot of flexibility with this list, and I think this is going to be one of the more consistent performers. I don't think it's going to have as high of a ceiling, but I think it's going to be a lot more consistent than like an all-in method. The all-in method is going to be very fun to pull off, but I think this is going to win you more cubes more often. And only time will tell, but those are my 3 deck recommendations to try out with Silver Surfer. Keep an eye out for these lists. If you're not going to buy Silver Surfer, try to think of ways to counter that card. So Cosmo, or lane lockdowns, or just kind of limiting what the opponent can do, redirecting their power, you can counteract Silver Surfer pretty heavily, but it's going to be like Black Panther. If you don't, it's going to be very, very strong. Only this time it's going to be all across the board. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to stick around for the Silver Surfer video later tonight. As soon as the card comes out, I'm going to be brewing around it. I'm going to try to draft a deck, get a video up to you guys as soon as possible. But I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave it a like and a comment. As always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.